In this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways that you can create positive boundaries so that you can feel strong and empowered in this very chaotic world. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I help people to spiritually awaken so they can enter a conscious path of ascension. And be sure to subscribe so you catch all my videos to support you on your awakening and ascension journey. You know, the world outside is getting increasingly chaotic, and it's really easy to feel like you might be losing control over your own life. So I'm going to show you 5 ways that you can pull your life together again with positive boundaries so you can feel strong and empowered again. And you can feel free to choose just 1 or 2 or all 5 of these different ways. Now, the controllers and their minions are planning to create more and more chaos and trauma so they can break us down completely. See, in their minds, this is literally a fight to the death because they don't know anything else. They function entirely on the currency of fear and violence. And believe me, you guys, they do not want to lose control. You see, if they lose control, they lose everything because they don't have any real life force of their own to run on. So they're doing everything they can to break us so that we are not able to ascend. But it's not going to work because we are smarter than that, right? And we have the backing of the entire benevolent universe. But there is one small caveat. We have to be able to pull ourselves together so we get some measure of control in our lives that will enable us to tap into our higher power. So I'm going to show you 5 practical ways that you can feel in control of your life and of your experience. And all 5 of these ways begin with creating positive boundaries. When you set positive boundaries, you will experience tremendous clarity and peace. You will be able to relax because you'll feel in control of your life again. So let's start with the first way that you can empower yourself by creating a positive boundary. Decide that you will honor yourself and your heart first. This means that you regard yourself as a sacred being. And because you are sacred, you are worth protecting the energy of your consciousness. So you want to create a boundary of positive intent around yourself. And you need to understand that the universe wants you to ascend to a higher plane of reality. I mean, it's not like you're just all by yourself in that desire. You have an entire universe of light that also wants you very much to ascend to that beautiful higher place. And that's why it's perfectly okay to give up any guilt and all the negative thoughts. And you know that negative stuff that you might have been harboring about yourself? Well, that actually completely serves the controllers. It doesn't serve you at all. I mean, why should you continue to carry negative energy about yourself on their behalf? That's what they want you to do. So get rid of that stuff, because if you hold on to it, you're just helping them. You're not helping yourself at all. So part of the way that this boundary can manifest is by you saying essentially to the controllers, hey, I'm not carrying this negative energy for you anymore. I'm just done. I mean, doesn't that feel so good? What a breath of fresh air. So now you've created a beautiful boundary of light around yourself that honors that sacred space of you and your heart. And you are saying to the universe, and you're saying to anyone else, hey, I'm no longer going to function as a carrier of that negative energy for those who want to benefit from my holding on to that negativity. Now, the second way to empower yourself with positive boundaries is this. You want to clearly identify to yourself the space within which you refer to as your life, and then you want to create a beautiful boundary of light around that space. In other words, you need to choose the physical arena in your life that you will own with your consciousness. Maybe it's your home, or it could be a combination of things. It might be your workspace if you have a job, for example. It's any part of your physical life within which you live your life. Now, this is really simple. It's not complicated at all. What you want to do is consciously define the physical space that you have some measure of control over with your own consciousness. Now, once you choose that space, you want to surround it with light every day. I mean, projecting light anywhere is a power that you have, and you definitely want to be using that power. So you want to always put protective white light around all of the physical spaces within which you live your life. You see, the media and the outer world will constantly try to enter these sacred physical spaces of your life. They will make every conceivable effort to project their negative energy into these spaces and ruin your experience. I mean, guys, I think they made it kind of obvious that they literally want to crush you. So what you want to do is put white light around these spaces and don't let them in. And if you want some additional power added to that, what I recommend you do is ask the angels to support that parameter of light and protect your sacred space of living. And you know, I was just thinking that I remember hearing one time that all wars are won ultimately psychologically, which means in the end, they're really won with energy, not just with weapons. So keep the power of that in mind in this battle for our souls. Energy is powerful, and it's really time that we use our own energy effectively so that we can preserve the sacred space of our consciousness and our physical world that is really ours, within which we are given the divine right to create. Now, the third way to empower yourself with positive boundaries is this: put conscious boundaries around your time. I want you to reframe the idea of scheduling. This is really powerful, you guys. Now, we usually think of scheduling our time as being something like just a linear to-do list, but actually time is space. So a block of time is really a block of space. It actually has parameters around it. So I want you to think of each block of time in your life as a block of sacred space. For example, let's say that you have a certain activity that you do for 1 hour each day. Maybe it's getting ready in the morning, or maybe it's time that you set aside to meditate and journal. Perhaps it's time that you set aside to cook a meal, or maybe it's time you set aside to work out. This is a block of time within which you get to decide what enters there. You get to put positive boundaries around that block of time and then create the quality of your experience within that space. The more that you take control of your time as space, the more empowered you're going to feel. So don't limit yourself to the to-do list kind of mindset. Instead, you can take a chunk of time, put light around that space of time to indicate that now you are going to decide what happens there. So instead of seeing it only as blocks of time, you can actually see it as blocks of space, and then make a conscious, positive choice about the atmosphere in that space and about what is going to happen there. Now, here's one example of how you can decide. Do you want to allow the AI phone inside that particular space? Maybe the answer is no. And then from there, you decide what space your phone is actually allowed in. You don't let the AI phone decide that for you by just laying around and drawing you in at every turn. Put your phone in another room if necessary. You know, in a weird way, I don't think it's all that crazy to treat your phone like it's a living thing. I mean, that is the plan. And it probably already has enough AI consciousness in it now to be seen as the Trojan horse that it really is. So you can send a message to yourself and to the universe that you control the AI phone. It doesn't control you. You can say, okay, phone, you're allowed in here in this space, but you're not allowed in this space. I mean, we need to stay in command, you guys. Now, here is the fourth way that you can empower yourself with positive boundaries. You want to set clear boundaries when it comes to other people. On a physical level, it's about your ability to decide which relationships truly matter in your life. And you also want to be clear about which ones don't. For example, if you are a people pleaser, you're going to wear yourself out completely, because you're essentially saying that everyone you meet is an important relationship in your life, because literally everyone has the power to make or break your self-esteem. If you are a people pleaser, you have literally opened the door to anyone and everyone to be able to define you. Now, does that sound like a good idea? And in that case, where do you fit into that picture? Well, I'll tell you. You are left with a few remaining crumbs of leftover identity after everyone else has told you who you are. You get whatever leftover scraps remain of your soul when you have allowed everyone else to define you according to their needs, not yours. This also includes the media, you guys, because the media is always trying to tell us who we are. So the most important positive boundary to create when it comes to other people is to own yourself completely. And then other people are left to own themselves as well. And this is actually healthy for everyone because it's the only way to evolve. And then think about how much easier your life will be when you're only dealing with your own thoughts, instead of feeling like you also have to deal with the projected thoughts of everyone else. That's just too much. It's like eating too much food. It will start to make you sick because you can't digest all that food at once. And in the same way, if you expect yourself to have to digest the thoughts of everyone else along with your own, you're going to start to feel spiritually very sick. So instead, you can take full ownership of yourself, and then you give others the space to have ownership of themselves as well. And that's actually a win for everybody. And finally, the fifth way that you can empower yourself with positive boundaries is this: choose your own beliefs. Now, this one is really serious because this is related to the onslaught of mind control that we are subjected to every single day. You have the right to decide what you believe and what you don't. The media in all its forms is constantly telling us what we are required to believe. It doesn't matter if what they're telling us is a lie. We're required to believe it anyway. Have you noticed that everything the media tells us to believe is based in fear and anger? Fear and anger are the currency that they use to gain access to our minds. See, fear and anger are two sides of the same coin. They are actually like the yin and the yang of negativity. Fear is the yin side and anger is the yang side. So they really go hand in hand. You see how that works? Fear is the action of retreat and anger is the action of aggression. And once they get you hooked into either side of that dark coin, they have you. They have managed to grab a hold of your consciousness. So the messages we get every single day are twofold. This is what you're supposed to be afraid of, and this is what you're supposed to be angry about. That's what's called news. Now, if I were you guys, I would completely reject that dark coin of negativity. I mean, you can say, yeah, I get that's what you're all about, but I have priorities in my consciousness and you're not it. And this is what allows you to focus on ascension and on the experience that you personally want to have as a sovereign being. See, they want you to believe that all you are is physical and that you are nothing more than that. And guys, if you believe that, they can completely control you. So you can actually choose to honor your heart and your higher intelligence, and then let your divine heart, which holds the magnitude of that higher intelligence, allow that to inform you about who you really are and how much more expanded you are as a consciousness. See, the controllers do not want you to recognize that you are an infinite being, because at that level, they have no power at all to control you. So they will do everything they can to distract you and terrify you. So hopefully, according to them, you never notice your real power as an infinite being. But you should always remember that you hold the power to choose whatever belief resonates with your heart. And if your heart tells you that you are a cosmic being awakening to the truth of who you really are at a cosmic level, then why not trust yourself? Aren't you a much better authority on yourself than the really insane media? I mean, the media is almost like this cackling machine that just never stops talking or making a whole bunch of noise. So the positive boundary that you can set here is to simply say, no, you don't get to decide what I believe about myself. See, that's a statement of power, sovereignty, and ownership of your own consciousness. So those are the 5 ways that you can create positive boundaries so that you can feel empowered, centered, and strong in your life. And as I said, feel free to implement just one of these or several or maybe all 5, whichever you feel most resonates with you. And I'm going to put timestamps in the description below in case you want to revisit any one of these 5 ways. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you feel would benefit from these ideas. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday with all new videos to support you on your awakening and ascension journey. So with that, I'm sending you loads of love, light, and positive energy. I will see you in the next video. Namaste.